First of all, Bill Arthur.
Sheffield Eagles have pulled out all the stops ahead of this game to try and generate a bit of interest, and they've opened the gates, just asking for a donation to charity from the supporters. And this is the Sheffield Eagles side that will line up at the Don Valley tonight. Johnny Woodcock at full back, Richard Newlove, James Ford, Damien Reid, Danny Mills, Brendan Lindsay and Gavin Brown. In the forwards, Jack Howison, Craig Cook, Mitchell Stringer, Dale Holdstock, Jed Corcoran and Adam Hayes at loose forward. On the bench for the Eagles, Dominic Brambani, Nick Turnbull, Tommy Traylor and Tom Buckingham for coach Mark Aston. Whitehaven have all sorts of problems ahead of this game. 5 first-choice players missing, but Gary Broadbent, as ever, is there at full-back. Craig Calvert, David Seed, Scott McAvoy switching to the centre in the absence of Rob Jackson, who's gone down with food poisoning. Derry Ilbeck, Leroy Joe and Carl Rudd. In the forward, Steve Trindle, Graham Mattinson. There's no Aaron Smith tonight, he's got a sternum injury. David Fatialofa, Simon Baldwin, Richard Fletcher and Spencer Miller. Carl Seiss, Howard Hill, Scott Tier, Ricky Wright on the bench for coach Dave Rotherham. So 5 first-choice players and crucial players, Phil. John Duffy's not out there. We've mentioned Rob Jackson as well. There's your referee, Ron Lawton. So it hasn't helped Whitehaven.
Well, I've spoken to several experts this week who think we could have a shock on our hands here tonight. Sheffield, obviously the unfancied side here, at home with that advantage. And I think with the momentum behind them, if you speak to a lot of people, they've had a great second half to the season. Can they finish this game well?
Where we go?
But Whitehaven have got plenty to play for as well. Of course, they want to secure 3rd place with the playoffs looming. And they haven't given up hope of a glorious end to the season. But these absentees are going to test the depth of Dave Rotherham's squad. Steve Maiden, another one who is missing tonight. He's got another knee injury. And the Sheffield Eagles going into this game with that tempting prospect of a place in the playoffs. Of course, Dewsbury are breathing down their necks and they fancy a chance as well. And they too were newly promoted. Mark Aston, though, has been very pleased with the way his side have consolidated in National League One, and that was their target, and a playoff place was going to be a bonus. And that kick too strong, and Johnny Woodcock, who signed a new contract just before the game, in actual fact, when he arrived at the ground this evening, put pen to paper to stay at the club. Here's Holdstock. He's tackled just outside his own 20. And now with Jack Howison, the captain.
It's very difficult on this pitch to actually get your kicking distance right, and Rudd found that. It's a firm surface, and despite how it looks in the stadium here, it's actually a quite short pitch as well. The last thing you want is the ball to go over the dead ball line and just release the pressure away from your opponents. That's of course what Whitehaven did. Sheffield able with their first kick at the end of this set to apply any better pressure.
Mitch Stringer taking the ball up. There's Dave Rotherham. His players have had a long day, and several of them have done the early shift at work in Cumbria this morning and then knocked off at around midday and got on the bus and come down to Sheffield, a 4-hour bus ride. So it's a different world in National League football, preparing for a game like this.
It is pretty difficult, isn't it? 4.5 hours on a pretty hot and sweaty bus on the way down here, and then you face immediately a side determined and used to these sort of conditions, used to this pitch, perhaps even used to sometimes the distance to the crowd that have turned up here tonight. It's a hard environment in which to get yourself up for that sort of a game, but Sheffield are used to doing it and have done it successfully here this year.
Here's Leroy Joe. Whitehaven in possession just inside their own 40. They've beaten the Eagles already this season, 44-16 at Haven in July, and could have had more apparently. Rudd with the kick, again getting good distance on it, and again that one bobbling away into the end goal area, and Danny Mills will run it back. So Sheffield with Woodcock, who's tackled only going across field really, and then tackled as he crosses his own 20.
They're playing error-free sort of rugby coming out of their own 40. Sheffield have got big aggressive set forwards who are always ripping in everything that they do in defence and attack. But you'll see him promote the ball as soon as they get past the 40. And probably the most the best team offloading the ball. He's just seen a little short pass there.
Put the mockers on him.
I did do. But they do look to play. As soon as they get over the 40, they look to play.
But that mistake is going to mean that head and feet to Sheffield at the scrum.
Yes, Whitehaven, the referee says it was a knock-on
It's
by
Fletcher.
number 12. Richard Fletcher gets his hand to it.
Ron Lawton, eagle-eyed, combines his refereeing role with his job as a police officer. Didn't miss a trick then. Here's James Ford, another one who's signed on for the future.
Nice centre play there, wasn't it? How he came on the angle, and as the ball was coming to him, much as we often see Martin Gleeson do for Warrington, just drifting away to try and get outside his opponent.
So Sheffield in possession and just over the 40-metre line.
3, go!
Howison it was taking it up. Good sniping run from Craig Cook, who's kept his place at hooker despite the fact that Paul Pickering is back and fit again. Holdstock now, trying to go on the outside. Good defence. And then the crossfield kick. That's one for Richard Newlover. Newlover's got there. And it's back to 6, says the referee. And then off the mark very quickly was Richard Fletcher.
Call a knock-on match, Judge.
And he's going to bring him back.
We're going to turn it over. 5th tackle, yeah. We're going to knock off from a touch, knock-on.
I beg your pardon, the turnover. Well, Ron Lawton had signalled another 6 to go there, but I think the touch judge possibly alerted him to the fact that it wasn't.
Stand square,
Seemed a rather late intervention, didn't it?
Hold here, wait for his foot.
So it's going to be the turnover. So that's a let-off for Whitehaven. For a moment, I thought Richard Newlove was going to be in there.
That's an interesting change to the teams, isn't it? Danny Mills going opposite Craig Calvert. Probably the 2 fastest men on the pitch, but playing on the opposite sides. They weren't supposed to be lining up against each other, but Sheffield seemed fit to put Danny Mills opposite Craig Calvert.
It's a shame we haven't got Rob Warrency out there as well. He's out with an ankle injury, but if you've got him and Craig Calvert on the same field, you've got some real pace there.
The hard thing with that, though, sometimes is having the skill to get to the ball to those players, give them a chance to show what speed they have. At the moment, it's just been yardage sets, isn't it, where teams get the ball and have a simple philosophy: let's get as far downfield as we possibly can and then kick the ball. You don't always have to have the ball in rugby league to attack your opponents. This is a perfect example. You can actually attack them here now when you haven't got it. Really apply some pressure, shake them up a bit in defence and see if you can force an error.
Mills trying to burst through for the Sheffield Eagles.
Keep coming! 2, go!
That's right, that Phil. Especially on a small pitch like that, you need to get your dominance, don't you? So you do restrict the kicking game and keep them down in the 20 to 30. Because on a short pitch like this, as soon as they kick the ball, Gary Broadbent's got to turn around and get the ball.
4, go!
Cook. Here's Mitch Stringer.
Surrender!
Doesn't make much progress. Fatty low for him with the tackle, and Whitehaven just restricting their progress, and the kick over the top of Calvert, and eventually just picking up a bit of speed, and Calvert then turns and finds his way to safety, blocked by the chasers. Damien Reid leading the chase. Broadbent now.
2, lead him down!
The Haven captain
2, go!
makes the 10-metre line. Now Derry Eelbeck.
3! Wait here, lads. Go!
Eelbeck plays that ball.
That's a great carry there by Fletcher. The timing of the run, just a quality above many other players there. Hence the reason why he got so many metres and got up to play it quickly.
Here's the bull, Steve Trindle. Legs pumping, still going strong, the 34-year-old.
Get your hands out, mate!
Then to his feet and plays that ball. Oh, and that's a wild pass from Carl Rudd. And David Seeds has to put the brakes on and retreat to pick it up.
Pretty good kick at the end of it too, didn't he? Look at it, he had the time to put it between the fullback Woodcock and Mills. Will it stay in the field of play? It does. Woodcock has to turn now and get out of trouble. Seeds, he steps past him.
Neat work from the PE teacher from Triborough Secondary School in Rotherham. Fancy footwork, that will have impressed the pupils.
He reminds me a lot of the star fullback we saw last week from the Celtic Crusaders. Tony Duggan scored a sensational try, and if Woodcock gets the space, he also has the pace to score something similar.
Other 2 words.
Well, Boots and All, of course, follows this match, and you can contact the programme at bootsandall@bskyb.com. That's the email address, bootsandall@bskyb.com. Our email monitor is with us here in Sheffield and waiting for your emails.
5 and last!
Adam Hayes.
You two, give him 10.
And now the kick for Broadbent to retrieve.
You don't know.
Broadbent to Calvert, and Calvert is flattened.
Okay, that's one. Hold here, Jack.
On the follow-up, it was Brendan Lindsay, the Australian, and the Eagles now trying to do as Haven did at the other end of the field.
Well, here you get excited, don't you, when your players do things like that. It's the reason why Sheffield are looking really to contain this Whitehaven side. Had what, just over 8.5 minutes. It's been almost error-free from both sides, but there's one or two feeling it now. Heart rate's gone up considerably.
Good work from Fatia Lofa, and he gets the penalty.
Jed Corcoran holding down. It's the speed now just lifting again. When you got one man tackling, well, he's reluctant to let go, isn't he, Corcoran? He's trying to control the ruck area. They've lost control. They've probably lost 30 metres too with a penalty.
Irish international Jed Corcoran, signed from Oldham, and conceding the first penalty of the game.
Keep coming, Mitch. Another meter.
And once more, it's Fatia Lofa. Leroy Joe showed that ball to Simon Baldwin, wearing that trademark red headguard. Baldwin joined mid-season from Rochdale. Well, not even mid-season, just a few weeks ago in actual fact. Here's Trindle again. Great offload from Trindle. Now Graham Mattinson to Baldwin. Baldwin trying to get inside Jack Howison, but the Eagles captain makes the tackle. But this is promising from Whitehaven. Now Rudd. Oh, and then the knock on by Broadbent. The ball was dipping down by his ankles, and the coach anguished there.
I also think you've got to give a lot of credit here to Brendan Lindsay. The reading of the play in defence almost forced the mistake from Broadbent, because as soon as he looked up with the eyes, he saw the red shirt in front of him. Difficult pass to take, but Lindsay's reading of defence outstanding there. Knowing that Broadbent was the danger man, the ball was going to go to him. And they've seen off that first real threat there now by the Whitehaven side. You just felt, Terry, that when the Whitehaven players were taking the ball forward, Trindle in particular, too many players hanging back for the next play, not enough support with the ball on that run.
They looked to Trindle, they looked to Fatia Lofa to get them going forward, and then they looked to play after that, especially from this left-hand side. They looked to play a two-pass out to hit the outside backs. But it's interesting, the early exchanges, it all seems to be not much rugby played, does it? The forwards, you're going to see some gaps around the middle, the inside ball's working, and really tiring the big lads out.
Very safety first. Hayes. Well, that was a bit adventurous, offloading that ball in that tackle. Woodcock giving it a bit of width here now. Holdstock. Ford goes without it, and it's into touch. That's probably why they're keeping it safe.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's the first time they've started to show some enterprise in attack, but it was good. The offload to keep it, they knew they had space out wide, but the pass then, I thought, a poor one there for Ford. He did have McAvoy in front of him. Hard, too hard, often that short pass is fired into your teammate. You only need it to be a soft one to hit him on the chest.
Well, the Haven supporters are here. Had to alter their travel plans, but they're here on a Thursday night in Sheffield, hoping to see their side make third place secure. They have had an anxious start here tonight. Not a lot to get excited about. Can they do something positive with this set of six as Baldwin is tackled about 30 metres out? Mattinson. Very cagey opening 12 minutes here. These two sides testing each other out. Leroy Joe, the Sheffield defence, is numbering up, holding position. Broadbent is tackled. Stringer is in there. Mattinson. Little kick put in, and Mills has to try and get it dead, but it isn't. And now then, as Rudd followed up his own kick and got the touchdown, he has. Well, the Sheffield players asking referee Ron Lawton to consult video referee Tennant, but there you go, something to get excited about. Rudd's kick, and eventually the ball ricocheting and landing up back where it started in the hands of that man.
Well, a period of possession for Whitehaven inside the Sheffield half has been turned into points. Came to the last play. He had inside and outside options should he pass it, but he put the ball into the in-goal area and forced his opponents, Danny Mills, to try and deal with a difficult kick. Unable to get the ball over the dead ball line. It's a great play here. All the chasers are onside. Fletcher causes the hassle for Mills. Phils can't tap it dead, and Rudd follows through to ground successfully. First points here for Whitehaven, and a brilliant start to a simple set. Pressure on your opponents, eventually they may crack, and Whitehaven have followed that philosophy.
And Carl Rudd doesn't hang around. He's already lined up the conversion attempt, looking for his 118th success of the season. He's just got his 14th try. He's got his 118th goal. And he's got Whitehaven off to the start they wanted. They knew it was a tricky game. And they're ahead by 6 points to 0. And a try that probably summed up the opening 12 minutes or so here. A bit of a scrappy one.
Carl Rudd, big shoes to fill, and an astute little kick. Coming to replace the injured John Duffy and come up very well, but he had the confidence to slide the kick through because he had the players in motion who were moving up, and he knew if he kicked the ball, the players would be there to chase it.
Wait for him!
3 games in a row now, Carl Rudd's scored.
Keep him like that. Tackles down!
And that'll settle the side down, I'm sure. Fatty Alofa.
And you know, it's quite unusual for Whitehaven to start games particularly well. This season, the first half performances have been very poor in comparison to what they've put on after that half-time break. They've given themselves sometimes too much to do to come from behind, and I think that the Whitehaven fans and the Whitehaven coach will be relieved that in this game they have a 6-point lead.
Here is Trindle. Well, Haven have travelled well this season. They've won 5 from 8 on the road, so they do a pretty good job when they're travelling. Here's Baldwin. Gavin Brown in with the tackle.
Come on,
Brown, the longest serving Sheffield player on the books now. And here's the try scorer, Carl Rudd. Hoists that one. Woodcock is underneath it, right in front of his own posts, but unchallenged. Time to concentrate on the ball. Thought he'd got away from trouble, but he ran slap bang into it.
Go.
Well, short of scoring a try, Whitehaven will be happy with that. They've put points on the board, they've got to the end, they've put a difficult kick up, and they've now trapped their opponents. 2 tackles already gone from a set of 6. And Sheffield still close to their own try line. That's pretty good control of the game, and I'm sure that's where they'll look. Now, Sheffield, that's a sign that they're frustrated. They can't get forward easily, and they're starting to offload in very tricky situations.
Well, they've got another 6 to go in actual fact, because when Adam Hayes tried to offload that ball, there was a Whitehaven hand in there, so now got a bit of relief.
I tell you what's impressive though, the increased intensity now from Whitehaven. They've scored points and they've actually lifted to a higher gear.
It's a sign of frustration, Phil. It's a sign of confidence when you offload the ball like this. It wasn't on there, but you want to get away from the touchline, because when you're near the touchline, the only way you can go is into field, so the defence comes in.
Ford was almost away there. It needed a good tackle from Derry Eelbeck to stop his progress, but then he just hangs on too long, concedes the penalty. It's a shame that, because he did well to halt the initial threat.
Well, Sheffield needed some possession. They've done just a little too much defence in the last few minutes. They need to get to the other end of the field. They look tired. But I think that the left centre, number 3, James Ford, looks incredibly dangerous if he can get the ball to him.
Well, he's top try scorer this year, was top try scorer last year, and is a very potent threat. 4 tries in 1 game this season, Ford, so they would like to get the ball to him. Here's Corcoran. This is the Eagles' most promising position, really.
3.
With Stringer. And Stringer's lost that ball, and you're not going to get very far when you cough up possession in situations like that.
It was a one-on-one steal, wasn't it? Mattinson in the tackle on Stringer. The ball went to ground, and good defence there. They tried to put the big man, Stringer, who is a hard player to handle 10 metres from the line.
Number 3!
A one-on-one situation, but he's come up with a mistake.
On a knock on there, McAvoy trapped. The referee will bring him back, and that was good hassling defence from Dale Holdstock and his colleagues for the Eagles, putting pressure on Haven that time.
Well, it looked like there was an arm in there, didn't it? Punching it out the tackle. I'd like to see that again from another angle. Is it Brendan Lindsay? Left arm, knocks the ball down. Well, maybe he's trying to make the tackle. The touch judge thinks it's that way. I'm not sure where the knock on is either. McAvoy, doesn't it go backwards from him?
It's Eagles head and feed. Somebody saw a knock on. Here's Damien Reid now. Reid tackled on the 20-metre line. Sheffield with a bit of concerted pressure here. Corcoran taking him on. Calvert in with the tackle, and David Seeds. Here's Damien Reid once more. Reid trying to step his way through and very nearly managing to do so, the Scottish international Damien Reid. Whitehaven right on their own try line. The ball is fired out, and Stringer was trying to offload that ball.
Great defence there. Fletcher all over Stringer.
Cook now. The ball back on the inside. The Eagles keeping it alive. It's with Jack Howison, and Howison, the captain, just rumbling up the middle. This is good defence from Haven on the last tackle. Gavin Brown stabs a little grubber kick in. Leroy Joe plays at it.
Back to 1.
And it's back to 1, or is it out of play for head and feet to Whitehaven at the scrum? And Ron Lawton, I think, is going to consult his touch judge.
Okay.
Because, first of all, was Leroy Joe held back there? As that ball was ricocheting around, and I think Gavin Brown got a hold of Leroy Joe.
Oh, sorry.
Well, it was before then. This was the tackle. And Johnny Woodcock taken into touch.
Well, if a kick is only as good as its chase, a referee's only as good as the touch judges. Alongside, he's reliant on the information there from the official. He'd had information in his ear prior to the player going out of field of play. And for some reason he's awarded a scrum. I'm not so sure why, but Sheffield are stopping to ask a question.
Yep, they get the head and feed. So this is really concerted pressure from the Eagles now, looking to get level on the scoreboard. Mills, whose mistake really gifted that try to the alert Carl Rudd, plays the ball. Cook, here is Gavin Brown now. Brown pops the ball up to Corcoran, and Corcoran is in for the try. Third try of the season for Jed Corcoran, and coming in somewhat mysterious circumstances, but Mark Aston, the Eagles coach, will not be hanging around to debate that. And Corcoran, in acres of space, taking that pass and strolling over.
Well, here's the kick through. Now then, was there an obstruction on Leroy Joe? Did Gavin Brown hold him back? Players eventually thrown. Woodcock's thrown out of field of play, and somehow Sheffield come up with a scrum. But what they also come up with later in this set is a fantastic play. Ball being shifted wide, 2 or 3 passes, and then when they're having width, they're having players running into the gaps between the centre and the winger. David Seeds is almost lost in defence, and Corcoran takes advantage. But again, just try and fathom out here. Leroy Joe is initially held back.
That's a penalty, surely.
And then there's nothing wrong with that. That should be Whitehaven's head and feed at the scrum. I can't see how you can get a scrum feed and give the ball to Sheffield.
Nope, no idea whatsoever. He didn't lose the ball. There was no, it stumped me anyway.
Johnny Woodcock is going to have the opportunity to level the scores now. And he's successful with that conversion attempt. It's 6 points apiece. And Jed Corcoran with the try, Woodcock with the conversion, his 68th of the season. The Eagles are level, but the Whitehaven players and no doubt the supporters will be very mystified by that. And I honestly thought they should have had a penalty, because Leroy Joe, having blocked that kick, then went on in pursuit of it and was held back by Gavin Brown.
There it is again, Leroy Joe tackling down, pulling him down. I can't see much wrong there. I can't see where he's got that decision from, but going back to that try, Jed Corcoran, to say a big thank you there to Adam Hayes, who run, both defenders run at the one, both attackers run at the one defender, and that created the gap for Jed.
Here's Holdstock. They've been travelling down that left-hand side of the Sheffield Eagles all evening. Not to any great effect yet, but they obviously feel that they can do some damage out there. Here's Stringer.
Hands out!
The Eagles lifted by that somewhat fortuitous try. Get over the halfway line.
Hands out! 5.
Hayes, Brown now.
You're offside, you're
And then Seeds did get a hand to that, and the Eagles will chase this, and Broadbent did well there.
Safe hands there by Gary Broadbent to the back, didn't he, when it kicked through 4 Sheffield players in front of him. And all of a sudden Sheffield have lifted, they've scored the points, perhaps fortuitously. Certainly they got possession in lucky circumstances, but a good play in attack. There's the kick, already ricochets off David Seeds. Brown and Holdstock and his teammates are all there trying to get on the ball. Broadbent again, safe as house. His big hit this time, Brendan Lindsay. Second time he's come up with that. Flyers into Spencer Miller. I mean, Miller just lost the ball in the collision. Outstanding there now, Sheffield lifting.
Well, that is the sort of thing from Brendan Lindsay that your teammates appreciate, which is why he was 2006 Players Player of the Year for the Sheffield Eagles, and with a few more hits like that, he'll probably get their votes this time round as well.
Do you know, a little player like that really inspires you forward. If a little halfback can come up with a shot like that and inspire you forwards and say, I'm leading the way, you follow me.
Mills, Trindle in very strongly indeed, so too was Calvert. Here's Holdstock. Holdstock is driven to the ground. There's 3 of them in the tackle. Baldwin in there and Trindle and Mattinson as well. Brown, Adam Hayes. Hayes stopped by Seeds. Makes a bit more progress until the reinforcements arrive.
Go, you're off 9. 4, you're off 9.
Gavin Brown pops the ball up. That was tempting for Tom Buckingham. It was forward as well.
Well, it was a penalty, actually, I think, Bill. Tackling the man before the ball. Steve Trindle throws his left arm out. He knows he's almost lost. He's moved up quickly, and the acting halfback's got him into no man's land. Throws the arm up, and Tom Buckinham's tackled highly before dropping the ball. That's what the referee's deemed here. Collision on Buckingham before he even has a chance to take in the ball. And this should offer Sheffield a chance of 2 further points in the lead in the game.
Stay outside, lads, all stay outside.
Once a London Bronco and a West Tiger, Steve Trindle. And that has gifted 2 more points, you feel, to the Sheffield Eagles. Bang in front of the posts. And Woodcock, surely a formality for him.
Well, you probably credit these 2 points to Gavin Brown. It was him who spotted the fact that the 2 markers weren't quite set, and whenever the acting halfback in rugby league can get out of there and go get his team going forward, it will invariably cause trouble for the defenders around that middle zone.
So the Eagles 6-0 down, now 8-6 up.
Going right again, Carl.
He's had a busy day as Mark Aston, as ever, chief executive, coach, putting advertising hoardings out,
Keep them on.
helping to organise the post-match party, which will be taking place at Don Valley Stadium afterwards. Soul night and a Motown night in the same venue. Have you brought your dancing shoes?
I've got my old Northern Soul outfit, Bill.
Well, being a Wigan lad, you would have.
Keep the faith, haven't you?
Keep the faith.
1, here's your mark and
One or
wait.
2 other Northern Soul fans.
Go.
Is Mark Aston singing as well?
I wouldn't put it past him. He probably is the soul act.
2.
And you'd have to say he has been the soul of Sheffield, hasn't he, for quite a while now.
2, go.
Without him.
And he's put his heart and soul into the club.
Oh, he's...
Surrender.
Well, in fact, they've had to work hard because the switch of the game has meant that a club night they were having in the city centre has been moved up here, so they've had to bring all the gear up for that as well.
Go.
Here's Gavin Brown.
I think as the game's gone on, there seems to be
Give
a
him 10. Give him 10.
growing belief amongst the Sheffield side. Oh, there's a dangerous kick. Is he going to score? Lindsay's going for it.
To go dead, but Calvert almost paying the price there for dithering.
Is it just me, or do you think the confidence in this Sheffield outfit's risen tonight?
They do have a belief, but until the last 10 minutes last week when they played against Halifax, a high-flying Halifax, they were in control of the game. Just Halifax pulled away in the last 10 minutes. And they do, you can see the way that they're moving up and the speed of the lines got better. The defence is condensed, and they do believe they can win the game.
Long way to go yet, and of course a lot at stake for these 2 sides.
Well, our regular viewers who follow Super League will be used to St Helens interchanging Cunningham and Roby. Whitehaven do a similar thing, and the number 14 who's just come on for them, Carl Sice, a really dangerous runner of the ball from that position, much as Roby does for St Helens. Sice tries to do the same for Whitehaven.
Danny Mills very nearly getting away there. He, as mentioned before, is a very dangerous player. If he gets some open field, Reed has lost that ball. It's been picked up by Carl Sice. Haven back in possession.
Well, that seems strange. The referee said stolen one-on-one and it went backwards. There looked to be 2 bodies around there. Anyway, the decisions have evened up now. Can Whitehaven apply some pressure? They've had just over 10 minutes here now with a real chance to put some points and put some pressure on the opponents.
Leroy Joe, the pass just dipping in front of Miller. He did well to take that. Baldwin.
Wait here, lads. 3, hold here. 3, go.
Just
you're offside, Jed.
Playing the ball.
3, you're off, Jed.
Leroy Joe now. Scott Tier.
3, still 3.
Onwards. And it's back with Miller. Baldwin now. Just trying to probe this Eagles defence. Try and find a way through.
4.
Corker and the try scorer in at the tackle there, and Gavin Brown.
Number 3.
Leroy Joe. Joe puts a little stab kick in. Seiss was chasing. Woodcock is going to do well to get out of trouble.
Penalty
And I
there,
think
lads. Sticking him out.
Whitehaven are going to get a penalty.
Penalty there, lads. Took a man out.
Ron Lawton saying that the player was taken out.
Perhaps arguable he was offside anyway. Is it Gary Broadbent taken out by Brendan Lindsay? That's what the penalty's been awarded for. And will Whitehaven elect now to level the scores, or attempt to with a 2-point kick at goal?
Might it have been Seiss?
Do you know what? It's a tough call, that, against Lindsay.
It is a tough call for, but he stepped into his space, didn't he?
Well, he was turning, he was making
He wasn't turning,
to
I think
turn.
it was the way that he turned.
Brendan Lindsay looked puzzled by it. And it gives Haven the opportunity to level the scores. And this, similarly, should be a formality for Carl Rudd. Former Wathbrow player, as are quite a few of this Whitehaven side. Products of the local amateur scene. And the scores are level. 8 points apiece. A lot to get excited about here tonight. A real cat and mouse contest between these two. Well, Eagles and...
Side you going, Johnny?
Carry on.
I think Whitehaven knew on their journey to this game that this might be one of those matches you just have to grind out a result. You have to grind out a win. Be patient. And you might have to wait until the last 5 or 10 minutes of this game to get your noses in front and go on and win it. And it takes a patient approach.
Get these tackles down. Tackles down.
Whitehaven in possession.
Yeah, hold it, middle of field, come on. Go.
Just inside their own 20 metres. And this is the first of another busy weekend of rugby league on Sky Sports. Tomorrow evening, 7:30, Sky Sports 1 and HD1 Leeds against Hull FC. The Rhinos needing the win to keep pace with Saints at the top of the table. Big game on Sunday. Sunday at 4 o'clock on Sky Sports 2. Huddersfield Giants against the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats. That's on HD as well. Meanwhile here, this evening at the Don Valley Stadium, National League 1 action. Vital game as far as the makeup of the top 6 goes, and it's Sheffield Eagles and Whitehaven neck and neck. Here's Richard Newlove. Brother Paul, I understand, is booked for an engagement in Whitehaven at the weekend as part of the celebration of the testimonial of the 3 Kiwis at Haven. Plenty of celebrating going on as Aaron Lester, David Fatialofa and Leroy Joe celebrate their long association with the club. Here's Brendan Lindsay.
Nice plan there from Sheffield. They know how strong and compressed the Whitehaven defence in the middle. They've shifted the ball, as you say, favourably towards the left-hand side of the field. It's helped them get forward and look dangerous. And you just have to have a belief that as the game wears on and you move the defenders around more, displacing the defenders, making them shift across the field and go forward and backwards, that holes will appear in that line.
Lindsay with the kick. That's going to be too strong and disappear onto the athletics area.
They've done a good job, the Sheffield forwards and the Sheffield halfbacks, Brendan Lindsay and Gavin Brown. Probably Whitehaven's most potent attacking weapon is Richard Fletcher. And for Richard Fletcher in this game, he's been very quiet, and that's because he keeps on defending a lot of the players. He keeps on sending the players at him, and he has to keep on coming up with the tackles.
Not square.
Here's Gary Broadbent. And Broadbent...
Never square. Never square.
...has earned his side a penalty.
And that's how rugby league has changed in the last few years. Both wingers and then the fullback took those 3 runs for Whitehaven. They made great ground. They played the ball quickly because of their full, and that's the reason now they've been awarded a penalty at Sheffield, not ready. Tom Buckingham not set and stood in front of the play the ball.
Okay, hold your mark here, lads. Number 3, get
So
outside.
this is a good opportunity for Haven, and here is Fletcher. 18 tries already this evening. He's been a very canny signing from the Whitehaven point of view as Richard Fletcher. Really skillful second row player. Broadbent and Baldwin almost getting in each other's way there. A little bit of miscommunication, and the progress is halted. Leroy Joe, change of direction. Here is Spencer Miller. Miller was very ill a couple of weeks ago, and a nasty attack of a virus which meant he lost a stone in weight. But that's a great ball and a good opportunity for Scott Tier. Tier's just short of that try line, inches away of Whitehaven now. It's with Carl Seiss, and Seiss turns and eventually is tackled on the 10-metre line. They've lost progress there. Looking for the penalty. Referee tells him to get to his feet. Little chip kick, and they all go up for it, and the ball eventually dribbles dead.
He knocked it dead, lads, with Sticks drop out.
And I think it's going to be a goal line dropout in the end.
Sticks drop out.
Newlove it was who went up for it.
Never had control of that, you've taken it dead.
In fact, it was Calvert who got there first.
I think eventually, though, the referee's right, it did come off Newlove. Do you know, in that set, there was a fantastic pass by Carl Rudd, and an inside ball around the man. You don't often see players even attempting it. Such a pity, really, that Scott Tier couldn't get over for the try from a Whitehaven point of view. The skill on short in the endeavour was superb, but Sheffield survived. Can they survive for 6 more?
Tier driving the ball in, but meets pretty strong resistance from Tom Buckingham. Here's Howard Hill. Hill.
2, leave it, come on forward. 2, go.
This is the concerted pressure now from Haven.
3,
Fletcher.
3.
Playing the ball just on that Sheffield Eagles 10-metre line. Rudd, Leroy Joe, Broadbent joining in the attack and trying to get away from Damien Reid. Reid clings onto him. The Eagles under pressure here. 4 tackles gone. Another little kick. Another good kick it was from Carl Rudd, but Woodcock had read that one really well.
It's a brilliant play from Sheffield. We often credit the attack in a game of rugby league, but I tell you what, that took some effort. They were approaching half-time. There was an inevitability almost when they had to make the goal line drop out that Whitehaven were going to score, but they somehow dug deep and found a way of surviving. And then Woodcock's game sense, anticipating where he thought the opponents would kick the ball, really helped his team get out of trouble and up almost now to the halfway line.
Well, the Eagles have got injury problems. Let's get the news from Ben Pro.
Phil talked about the Whitehaven team spelling their hooker, Bill, but there's problems for the Sheffield number 9, Craig Cook. He's sat in the Sheffield dugout there. It's left thigh that's the problem. A little bit of ice applied, as you see there. The medical team are confident, though, he will return fairly shortly.
The kick, and Broadbent and Calvert almost getting each other's way there.
Here we are, lads.
Right on their own try line. The ball just got away from Calvert, and that could have been very embarrassing. Really nervy first half hour here, or 35 minutes. Neither side totally convincing. Both know what's at stake.
They're working very hard, Sheffield. They've defended the line very successfully, and even up in Whitehaven's defence, the kick chase has been spectacular in this game. And Whitehaven are just playing a simple, basic game of just taking the ball to the ruck. Carl Seiss having to get on, put a good kick in there, turning Johnny Woodcock around it. And again, Johnny Woodcock probably one of the best returners of the ball in this division.
You've seen plenty of it as the Eagles full back. Baldwin leading the chase for Whitehaven. Mills just wrong foots Baldwin, but then can't get away from Howard Hill. Hill with the tackle. Gavin Brown. Buckingham puts his shoulder to the wheel there, and they're up to the 40-metre line.
Well, we've had a few scores, but it really has been an end-to-end game this first half. I mean, here now Sheffield shifting the ball. Oh, Newlove takes it in brilliantly.
That was great work. He went forward, though. Reid disappointed.
That's a shame, isn't it? Great skill. Look, just taps it on there by Reid. Oh, the referee says it's gone forward. Oh, his touch just tells him so. That's a pity. That's good rugby.
Yeah, on your mark, lads.
You know, only 5 penalties in the first half. I say it's been a physically, I think, very demanding 40 minutes for both sets of forwards. They've had to work incredibly hard in defence and very few stops in play.
And both have had to make plenty of tackles. Eelbeck.
1. OK, release!
Haven looking to finish the first half with a flourish. They're in possession. There's coming up to 2 minutes on the clock. Tier doing well to turn and offload that. This is promising. Seeds retires at the end of this season, wants to finish on a high note with a club he's spent 11 seasons with. Leroy Joe now. Broadbent is collared by Ford, but he's got back to his feet. You don't pin Gary Broadbent down that easily. Buckingham eventually does, but by this time they're up to the 10-metre line. Leroy Joe will stab the kick in, and again that fullback Woodcock is there, and I think he's trapped in goal, is he? This time he couldn't get out, but he was well placed anyway.
Well, even a side as strong as Whitehaven, with the threats that they have in attack, are really struggling to break down what Sheffield are doing on their own line. Every so often they go for that kick option. This time it's Leroy Joe towing it into the in-goal area. Okay, they're going to be awarded with a goal line dropout. They should get possession back from this. So Sheffield's defence, superb, Bill.
But how long can they hold out? Well, can they hold out for the rest of this first half? Coming up to the last minute, the scores are level as Scott Tier. It's Howard Hill, I beg your pardon, who drives it back in. Now here's Ricky Wright, once a Sheffield Eagles, was part of the glory days back in 1998 and that Challenge Cup run. He missed the final through injury, Ricky Wright. Played in the semi-final, then lost out the glory at Wembley. Now hoping to help Whitehaven in their playoff target, and that's great work from Carl Syson going across the field, but he's lost the ball. He's picked up, I think it's Woodcock again who was in there.
Well, I suppose he had to have a chance, didn't he? If he felt he got close enough to the line, we haven't seen on that angle, but he must have put the arms forward, lost possession, going for a score, and hard really to deny Syce. He thought he could get there. Woodcock's defence, though, using the legs, in fact, prevents the ball from being grounded.
On your line,
It looks as though we'll be level as we approach the half-time router.
Get a foot on it, Damien.
Rambani with the kick. He's looking for a 40-20, but it's not going to find touch. And Craig Calvert will run it back. He'll take the tackle. And the first half ends with Mark Aston's side in 6th place in the table, looking for a top 6 slot. Dave Rotherham's team looking for 3rd place, and then neck and neck. It's Sheffield Eagles 8, Whitehaven 8.
Have Whitehaven as their guests tonight. It's 8-all after the first half, and one would expect a highly intense second 40 to come. Let's return to the action as the Eagles emerge from the dressing room. It's Terry O'Connor, Phil Clark and Bill Arthur, your commentators.
The Eagles coming out. It's only the 2nd visit by Whitehaven to this stadium. The last time was in 2000, and that was a nail-biting affair. They won 22 points to 19. The previous meetings in Sheffield have all been at the Owlerton Stadium down the road. I don't think Gary Broadbent was around then. He's hoping that his side can get on top in this second half. Neither side really taken a grip on this game yet. And all to play for in the second half. 8 points apiece as Whitehaven get the second half underway. Carl Rudd with the kick, and I don't think the strategy of either side is going to change much, Phil.
Well, no, I mean, I think even though we've spoken about the speed that both of these teams have and flyers on the wings, I think it'll fundamentally come down to field position. We're going to see a lot of short-range tries. That's what we saw in the first half, getting to about 10 metres from your opponent's line and then finding some sort of magic to get over the line, because the commitment levels from both teams has really set a standard, a very high standard, and that defensive line just won't be broken.
Last game of the regular season for these two sides. Of course, the playoffs await them. It's how those playoffs are going to pan out for them that's the really intriguing thing here tonight. Whitehaven wanting to get 3rd place, and the home draw that would give them. The Sheffield Eagles just wanting to get in the playoffs, which is an amazing achievement when you think at the start of this year, well, they lost their opening 7 games. They looked as though they would go the way of previously promoted sides like Keighley and Barrow and York, who were all relegated immediately, having returned to National League One. That's surely a penalty.
Well, if you put it in context, is it almost like Hull Kingston Rovers making the playoffs in Super League this year? They were promoted just as Sheffield were, and it's been an amazing real turnaround, isn't it, in the second half of the year for them.
5 and last.
Haven in possession.
Go.
On the halfway line. And that's a testing kick, but Woodcock is underneath it, and again he's rock solid underneath that. Well, both sides missing key players tonight, so Whitehaven more so than the Eagles, but the Eagles are missing one of their really pacey players, Rob Warrancy, and he's down on the sidelines with Ben, I think.
Rob, nothing to choose between the two sides, and a lot of nerves out there.
Yeah, it's a tough game tonight. The game is really important for both teams. We're pushing for 6, they're pushing to guarantee first spot, so it's going to be a tough game with a few nerves out there. And
the Eagles on the attack, and they could be in here with Gavin Brown, and Brown is going to go over for the try, and what a break that was. And it was Nick Turnbull, I think, who helped set that up. And Brown on his shoulder, and the longest serving player in the Eagles ranks gets the second try of the game right at the start of the second half, and that came out of nothing.
Well, you couldn't find a gap in the first half. All of a sudden there's a hole and Turnbull can't believe it. He's through it with absolute ease. What the skill involved. He's standing in the tackle, spinning and waiting patiently with the ball in arm for Brown to arrive, and he does just in time. It's brilliant play, isn't it? Can't believe it's through the line. He doesn't panic. He's there waiting for the support, and Brown does a great job getting up to support the ball carrier and getting close to the post. What a start for Sheffield.
Third try of the season for Gavin Brown, and he combines his role as a player with this side as also the development manager and now the scholarship manager for the Sheffield Eagles. Woodcock with a conversion attempt that'll be right in front of the posts, and another 2 points, and the Eagles 14-8 ahead at the start of this second half.
Again, the man you see there, Johnny Woodcock, who's just gone off the screen. Again, taking the ball and going straight in the attack, landing on his front, getting a quick play the ball. But this is a great run by the big fella. Just got him interested by the dummy run, and look at him stand for it, and as Phil rightly said, just offloaded the ball, timed it very nicely, and he just had the speed, Gavin Brown, to dive over.
Gavin Brown, as I mentioned, he's just overseen the launch of the Eagles scholarship scheme, which they launched this evening, in actual fact, the 20 or so players who've signed on for the scheme, and it's the first time in their entire history that the Sheffield club in any of its incarnations has run a scholarship scheme, so it's an indication of how they believe they can develop the future of the club, and they're hoping that this season they can finish with a playoff place at least, and at 14-8 ahead here, they're on a good sound footing at the start of the second half.
I think there are a lot of young players who just want an opportunity, aren't they? So Sheffield now hopefully providing that for them, and they've provided an opportunity for these 17 players here to impress. Brown now gets head of acting half-back.
They've kept the composure, haven't they? They've not tried to do anything daft, and the gaps probably come there from what they've done in the first half by tiring the big Whitehaven forwards out.
Brambini's gone for a 40-20 and he's got it, and he was out on the field a good hour before the game, practising from just about that position, Phil.
Well, he was, wasn't he? He must have put, I don't know, a dozen kicks in. Many of them went close. I'm not so sure I saw one hit as sweetly as that. That's perfect, because he had a man on this case as well defending the kick. But the left winger, Craig Calvert, couldn't get back there. And now Sheffield looking in the first 5 minutes of the second half to post their second try now in the second period.
He's a really lively, bubbly character, is Dominic Brambani. Here's Brendan Lindsay. Lindsay right in front of those Whitehaven posts. Haven just going through a bit of agony at the moment in the face of a really pumped-up Eagles start to this second half. Howison tackled and driven back. Here's Brown, here's Brendan Lindsay. Lindsay shows it to Holdstock, and that ball is gratefully snapped up by Derry Eelbeck. The threat for a moment subsides. Well, we heard briefly from Rob Warrancy, who's down on the sidelines. Still there, I hope, with Ben.
Rob, I'm sure you're delighted that we were interrupted by that Sheffield try, but one of the questions I wanted to ask, it's a completely different game from the one up at Whitehaven earlier in the season.
Yeah, it's a completely different game. We look a bit more composed today. We're playing with a bit more confidence. When we played up at Whitehaven, we were going through a bit of a bad patch, but we're completing our sets more, playing as a team more, and the results are coming along as well, so we're doing well today.
And of course a great season, promoted only 12 months ago. Could you have dreamed that you'd have competed this well this season?
Well, we were promoted and a lot of people had us down as favourites to get relegated, but we believed in ourselves and believed in the team, and we knew early on that we had the ability to compete with a lot of teams in the division when we were playing well, so we've just believed in ourselves all year, and to be in the frame for the top six is a great achievement for ourselves, and we're just going to keep pushing all the way to the end of the season.
Thanks very much, Rob.
Okay, no worries, thanks.
That's fair comment from the Eagles' point of view, but that's error from Tommy Traylor, who's spilled that ball, and it's picked up by Haven. Now then, this is a promising opportunity for them. Bit of a shaky start to the second half for them. There's Traylor. And Trindle might have just had a bit of an intervention there, but the ball went backwards. Trying to get a quick play the ball is Howard Hill. Played Super League with Oldham, Hill did. The ball fired back on the inside. Plenty of tackles in the bag for Haven on this set of 6. Leroy Joe running across the field. Holdstock with the tackle. It was Rudd who was brought down. Again, they're coming on the short side. Leroy Joe puts the kick in. It's a great one. Oh, and now then, can Derry Eelbeck get that ball down, or did he run out of room? Ray Tennant, the video ref, is going to have a look at that. It was a superb kick from Leroy Joe, just teasing in the air. And Eelbeck got on the end of it.
Well, it was a kick in the first half that provided the try for Whitehaven. He clearly onside there, behind the man kicking the ball. Does he take the ball in the field of play and ground it before he hits the dead ball line? Woodcock's involved in the challenge. Good control by Eelbeck, and we won't quite see from that angle. The touch judge is in a fantastic position. That one gives us a better view. Now, does the left arm hit the dead ball line before the ball itself hits the ground?
I think it probably does, yeah. Oh, that's harsh luck on Derry Eelbeck, I think.
It's harsh luck for Whitehaven, good luck for Sheffield.
Yeah, confirming no try.
Eelbeck
Yeah.
just running out of room. The try is disallowed, and that is heartbreaking for the 23-year-old. Just couldn't stop himself putting the hand out before the ball was grounded.
No, you can't be critical of Eelbeck there. He did an amazing job there to stay onside, win the ball in the air, and actually get it down on the ground.
Those in-goal areas are so tight to start with, aren't they? I mean, you're talking, what, 5, 6?
Maximum, I would say 5 metres as well, yeah. It's because, you know, it's not a very long
I thought
area.
you normally pace these things out.
Unfortunately, today I left the tape measure at home, and Brambini's got the ball back.
Dominic Brambini on the break. He's looking for some support, but Broadbent will collar him. Couldn't get a link up with anybody. Lindsay, though. Haven still coming back into the defensive line as Holdstock tries to break through. It was McAvoy with the tackle. The game moving from one end of the field to the other. Howison tackled about 5 metres out now. Gavin Brown flings the ball out, and Brambini has dropped it. The ball just dipping at his toes.
It is a difficult skill, that, probably unnoticed. The left to right pass of that distance from the acting half-back position, Brown can't find it. He knows as soon as he lets go, it's not a good one. He's just got his fingers crossed that Brambini can take it in, but he can't.
So Haven had head and feet at the scrum, and the pace certainly has upped in this second half. We were speculating at half-time that there might be a bit more open space, and it looks like that early on.
And the errors are coming as well, Bill. There weren't many errors there in the first half, and Derry Whitehaven pushing the pass now, and credit to Sheffield, really, because the only way that they could break them down was with a kick to try and score in the corner.
Trindle taking his side forward. It was Jed Corcoran with the tackle. Howard Hill trying to make progress himself.
He's added some punch since he's gone on for the Whitehaven team. He's making yards, he's breaking through the tackles.
Jed! You're on now.
Broadbent. Eelbeck. Tackled by his opposite number. Danny Mills. That's the 5th. And Rudd makes space for the kick, and it's not a bad one either. But over there on the far side. Well taken by Reed.
It's new love, isn't it? Bounces up and down. He's still being driven backwards. Offloads here now. Well, we're seeing some skill here. Look at the level. You say it's a faster, much faster game here now, the 10 minutes of the second half. I think at times Whitehaven could be guilty of the fact that without the general director, John Duffy, the scrum half who normally plays and leads the team around the field, they're all looking to try and create moves and put little players on that they're used to doing, that Duffy normally organises. I think without him on the field, they're probably better just reverted to a more simple approach. When we've got the ball, just go hard and straight, put some footwork on, find an offload if you can, but there's probably too much rugby being played. They need a more direct approach if they want to get downfield.
And you've got to make the point that Whitehaven, without 5 first-choice regulars, of course, the most recent withdrawal just earlier on today, Rob Jackson having to pull out because of a bad case of food poisoning, and it was apparently literally a dodgy prawn. Broadbent gets out of danger.
Surrender.
Plenty for the Whitehaven coach to think about.
Look at the hurrying in defence there in numbers. The red numbers in the shot every time that they get the ball. Not so much there, but they just hassling Whitehaven as Sykes tries to get on the outside.
Sykes has flung that ball back in field. Oh, it's going to go horribly, horribly wrong, and they could be in here. Reed will plunk that ball down, and in their effort to keep the ball alive, Whitehaven have gifted Sheffield a try, and Damien Reed was only too happy to seize on that ball. And it's all gone horribly wrong in this second half for Whitehaven.
Well, I said in the first half, there are times in a rugby league game when you can attack your opponents even if you don't have possession. This is one of them. You've got them trapped down near their own line, and you can force them to do things that they wouldn't normally do. They put intense pressure on the Whitehaven side. When you're under pressure, you come up with mistakes, and Reed has taken advantage of that. As I say, a close-range try, picking up the scraps and grinding out another 4 points. Sykes tries his luck. He thinks he's got the pace to win it on the outside. Then he realises he's going off the island, throws the ball back inside, but the luck is with the home side, and the strength is with Damien Reed.
So Woodcock, 100% record so far, but I think they've all been in the vicinity of the posts. This one, a bit of a tester. A very nonchalant strike of the ball, and he's successfully kicked it. 20 points to 8 now. The Sheffield Eagles lead over Whitehaven. The Eagles looking good for 6th place at the moment.
Whitehaven looking frustrated, aren't they? Going sideways before they've gone forward. And you've got to credit Sheffield the way that they've hurried him into making that mistake. And Carl Sykes there knew there was only one place he was going to, and that was in touch.
Still instructions going down from the chief executive, stroke coach, stroke advertising hoardings erecting executive. You name it, he'll do it.
And Soul Singer.
Allegedly. It probably will be later on.
Get off him. On his chest.
So Whitehaven with a bit of work to do here. Needs some inspiration. Need a bit of luck. But you've got to be down that end of the field to even make your luck. They had that try from Derry Eelbeck disallowed. A stringer takes the ball up. The Eagles just inside their own half, and they've really dominated possession in this second half. As you can see, Whitehaven have struggled to get their hands on the ball, and when they have got their hands on the ball, they've, well, as we saw just a few moments ago, they've given it away.
You know, possession tends to have a habit of evening itself up over the course of 40 minutes, and Whitehaven have to ride through this tough storm here now. Again, that's a second excellent kick. The last time it led to a try. Several good kicks by Sheffield, hanging around the try line, difficult to deal with. And when the ball stays on the island and just a few metres from the try line, the defenders chase so much more enthusiastically.
3, go.
Trindle.
4, move on.
Beg your pardon.
4, go.
Fatia Lofa now. Fatia Lofa using his strength to get to the halfway line.
Hold it, lads.
He's had a big game. Dale Holstock always taking the ball, a very aggressive running, and again in the tackle.
Great chip and chase from Carl Sykes, but Newlove was back there to pick the ball up, and he read that superbly. He saw what was going on, didn't commit himself, and the ball came to him sweetly. And Haven just beginning to get a little bit frustrated, are they? Stringer once more.
Surrender. 3.
They have to channel that frustration into the defence here.
Get a foot on it.
Cling on because their opponents have got good control. They've got the ball. Again, brilliant centre play.
Ford gets the ball out to Adam Hayes, and Hayes back in field to Mills. Mills taking them on, tackled on the Whitehaven 20-metre line. The Eagles threatening once more. Here is the Australian Brendan Lindsay, just pops the ball up, simple but effective pass into the hands of Jack Howison. That's the 5th tackle. Lindsay, this time he'll hoist the kick. Calvert is under pressure. Oh, the ball has come up for the Eagles, but I think they've just managed to avert the threat that time.
Short on 6.
Newlove got there ahead of Calvert, and this kicking game from the Eagles is causing them problems.
Back here.
What an amazing catch anyway by Newlove there in the corner.
There we are.
As you say, really, the importance of kicking the ball, both at goal and, of course, now in the field of play, so, you know, it's just vital to any success that you're going to have in a rugby league game.
Great take from Newlove, and good work from Seeds, I think it was.
3. Go.
Fatia Loafer plays the ball. Seiss. Well, that was a bit hit and hope. Fatia Loafer again. Leroy Joe just clinging on to that, and that's good progress. Almost getting away.
4.
Seiss scoops the ball up, runs across the field, then skips away from the challenge. But Haven heading in the right direction at least. That's the 5th tackle. It needs to be a good kick here now.
You know what's been a real big factor in the second half? Dominic Brambini's pressure that he's put on the Whitehaven kicker. Back to one here now in McAvoy. But every effort he's come out of the defensive line, Brambini, to put pressure on Rudd. And it's why Whitehaven aren't able to get the kicks in that Sheffield have.
Broadbent, though, takes his side inside the Eagles' 40.
2. Go.
It's about in the middle of the field. Mattinson is back on.
3. No movement. 3. Wait.
Haven really do need something positive from this set of 6. Leroy Joe, oh, and then again the ball is coughed up, and the Eagles will say thank you very much indeed for that.
They're trying to come up with the players, aren't they, to get the tries, to get back into the game. But just Sheffield have just controlled the body language of the Sheffield players. As we can see, Leroy Joe, the tough ball to catch when someone's in front of you like that. But the Sheffield players, the body language is very good. They're pointing in attack and defence, and they're pinpointing, they're all talking, and that's a sign that's high on confidence.
Tommy Traylor is tackled.
3. Go.
Come on really well this season as Traylor, who's an Eagles Academy product. Lindsay, Brambani. Just for a moment he thought that the gap was going to open up for him there. Cook and Brambani and Seiss, I think it is, having a little dispute in back play.
5 and last.
As Turnbull is tackled. Nick Turnbull went out of the game for a year to concentrate on his career as a chartered surveyor. He's obviously been effective tonight. His pass setting up one of the Eagles' tries. And that's good work. They'll get another set of 6.
Do you know what, Phil? I think they're that confident that they're going to go for the try and kill the game off.
Well, I thought Woodcock was just sitting behind the play of the ball as a drop goal option, but that kick there by Lindsay again, absolutely superb. I mean, there's nothing that Whitehaven can do there other than control the ball and kick it back out here now to Sheffield. You know, the underdog tag can be a powerful motivator if used in the right way, and Sheffield, I think, have that attitude here tonight. Really, they are now the hunters, aren't they? They're chasing down everything when they haven't got the ball. When they've got it, they're running with a desire and determination, you know, that they've been raiding off. And Stinger's leg drive there, just pushing now 20 metres from the line. 4 tackles still left in this set.
Stringer struggling to get to his feet. Seiss trying his hardest to delay that. Here's Reid. Reid gets the ball away to Newlove. Newlove going for the corner. He hasn't got the legs. And it was good defence.
3.
Little kick from Brambani, but that was a bit too ambitious. Just got a bit carried away there, Dominic Brambani.
Well, you know, if Whitehaven go on to win this game, you look back at that play there and say that was the defining moment, really. They were under so much pressure. Leroy Joe had to get that ball back in the field of play. I think another goal line dropout would have seen Whitehaven crumble, but they're still hanging in there, just 2 scores behind.
Still a quarter of the game to go as well.
3. Here, lads.
Brendan Lindsay there at 6 for Sheffield Eagles. Had an interesting Wembley weekend. He proposed to his fiancée, as she is now, on the London Eye while he was down in Wembley. It does do a strange thing to you, the Challenge Cup week. People do the most extraordinary things Challenge Cup final weekend, don't they?
I must admit, I never proposed to my wife at the Challenge Cup weekend.
Well, here come Whitehaven now. Seiss Seiss, it's on the last, and eventually he's brought down.
Is that another high tackle by Stringer?
Do you think it
Referee
was?
thinks not. Whitehaven have gone away from doing that. We have a player injured actually in the behind the referee.
Reed takes the tackle. There's an Eagles player in trouble in back play. I think it's Adam Hayes, is it? On the far side of the field. He's back on his feet and getting the thumbs up from the physio. Here's Mills. Mills trying to worm his way through, and he's got through the first ranks of the Haven defence. Brambani. A really relentless pressure from this Sheffield side. Here is Stringer once more. Right in front of those posts of the Sheffield Eagles. Stringer will get to his feet to play the ball. And it is now back with Brambani. He'll go for 1 point. It loops up into the air. And he's missed it. Wide of the target.
Well,
Dominic Brambani with the effort.
Yeah, no, they want to make it 3 scores, don't they? They think 3 scores will be enough to win this game from here. I think the way Whitehaven were playing just a minute or two ago, they looked as though there was only 2 minutes to go in the match. You know, they've still got so long, but they need to work their way back into the game, not try and magic it. Fatialofa through the hole.
Fatialofa charging straight up the middle. That's a run to inspire his side and able to offload. But the rest of the side are only just catching up now. Now it's with Seeds. Darting back in field, the veteran centre. He plays the ball. Spencer Miller. Can they do anything with this set of 6, Haven?
Lead in! 3, wait here, go.
Leroy Joe takes him on his own, almost got the ball away, but there was nobody on his shoulder there. Mattinson now. Mattinson to Broadbent. Broadbent has Baldwin inside him. Baldwin comes back in field, and they've just lost a little bit of pace. Fatialofa set him off like an express train, but can they convert this into points? Leroy Joe puts the kick in. There's a bit of open space there, and that's well dealt with by Brambani.
Sticks drop out, lads.
Goal-keeping touch over the crossbar, cuts on his cheeks.
Yeah.
Well, we've seen Sheffield's short kicking game and how accurate that's been. Here's one now from Leroy Joe. They were unlucky not to score. Fatialofa just got it between those players, but there was no support there on that occasion. Look, all the red shirts around him, very few blue ones.
Brave from Woodcock there. He just saw a leg and he closed his eyes and hung on to it. It's a good dropout. He's got to the 40-metre line, but trundling back up the middle of the field, and then it takes 3 of them to stop him just inside the Eagles' 40. Sheffield ahead by 20 points to 8. Halifax waiting to pounce on any Haven slip this evening. Here is Leroy Joe. Now it's with Carl Rudd. Rudd, Mattinson, almost through, has another chance. Eventually they stop him about 12 metres out. And this is by far the best phase of the game in this second half for Whitehaven. Oh, and Broadbent escapes from the challenge. That time of Stringer, I think it was. Here is Leroy Joe, back on the inside. Fatialofa, has he got that ball down? He's still wrestling it. What defence from Woodcock. Ray Tennant will have to have a look at that to see if he's got it down. The full-back doing his best to deny him. He's only scored 2 tries this season, David Fatialofa, and one of those was against Sheffield in July. I don't think he's got that down. What a defensive effort.
There used to be a time when if you got over the try line, you were virtually guaranteed a score. Defence has increased now to the level where teams even in there won't let go. They twist and turn, and I'm not sure whether legs are underneath the ball. Woodcock won't let go of it, will he, in the end? It's a tough call from this angle.
No, I think he's put it down on Tom Buckenham's leg to start with. Well, really, obstruction might come into the equation as well.
No, Trindle runs through. There's no obstruction involved there at all. The ball's back inside. Like you say, it's Tom Buckenham's legs. I think they might be the first thing that saved Sheffield.
Well, they've had 1 try denied already. Derry Eelbeck denied. Go on, Terry.
Watch Fatialofa's reaction here as Johnny Woodcock holds him up there.
Play has resumed. No try.
But you could
tackle.
You could tell he hadn't got the ball down because of the way that he was carrying on trying to turn over and get the ball down.
Exactly. But they haven't given up yet. They're on the last tackle. Leroy Joe on the last, puts the kick in. Newlove will snap it up. And The Sheffield Eagles breathe a sigh of relief, and Whitehaven wonder what they've got to do to get points on the board in this second half.
Well, they've got to come up with better players on the last tackle, and that's been the difference. Sheffield have had an excellent kicking game, a variety of players doing it. Without John Duffy, I think Whitehaven have lacked in that department tonight.
Let's go down to the sidelines, and Ben.
Influential players missing on both sides, Bill. For Whitehaven, Richard Fletcher, there's a problem with his right arm, and the medical staff were initially confident that he would be able to come back on, but he's been off the pitch now for about 15-20 minutes with no progress. As for Sheffield, Gavin Brown has a problem with his right knee. That's got some ice on it at the moment, just away to my left-hand side. The physio is saying that he had some soreness inside the knee, so a real problem for one of Sheffield's more influential players.
Here are Whitehaven in possession then. About 30 metres out. Oh, and the error. And Scott McAvoy hangs his head in disgust. Now there were hands in there, trailer involved.
I suppose, Bill, Sheffield's patience has been rewarded, haven't they? They survived on their own line, and then they got to the other end of the field, and they've just prayed and worked hard to force mistakes from their opponents, get into this part of the field and punish them.
That's what they've done all game, isn't it, Phil? They've had a good go forward, they've had a good kick chase, and they're trying to force the error.
Here's Adam Hayes, was needing treatment a short time ago, back on his feet. And the Eagles just taking their time. They are in control, leading by 20 points to 8. Here is Lindsay. Lindsay to Holdstock. A little stuttering run from Holdstock. The ball pops out. I don't think he knew an awful lot about that, but it's come up well for Tom Buckingham. And Buckingham, who was heroic at the other end for the Eagles a moment ago, now on the Whitehaven line, just a few metres away. Lindsay puts the kick in. Stringer is chasing, and in the end, Seeds has to put that one dead. And the look on Seeds' face just about sums it up. Come on, boys.
Well, David Seeds knows that the game's on the line on that play. He had to get back, he had to clear the line. Stringer's flying through, doesn't often get a chance to score a try.
Doesn't often get the word flying associated with his running style.
Tackles down, lads! Tackles down!
Well, this is all, of course, building up to the National League Grand Finals day. Oh, and there's a high tackle, I think. National League Grand Finals day. There's the RFL information line if you want information about the event at Headingley Carnegie. 0844 477 7113, and the inquiries at rfl.uk.com is the email address. Both these sides in contention in the playoffs, but at the moment it's the Eagles who are enjoying the night, and Woodcock will go for 2 more points. They're looking for 6th place, Haven looking for 3rd place.
Well, rather amazingly, 27 minutes into the second half, and that's the first penalty that referee Ron Lawton has actually found in this second half, and it's been one of the reasons why I think Whitehaven have really struggled. The game has been completely dominated by Sheffield. They've made very few errors, they've conceded no penalties since the break, and it means that Whitehaven haven't been given the field position that so often comes from a penalty.
For Woodcock with 4 successes from 4 attempts so far this evening, and this one to give his side a bit more breathing space. I don't think he struck that well, but he's got it over the post. It wasn't convincing. A bit of a skimmer that one was, but 22 points to 8, and the Eagles fans enjoying it, and so too is Mark Aston. First smile of the night.
Keep them all on, Carl.
But it's not in the bag yet.
Stay on, lads.
You'd have to imagine a short kick-off here. Whitehaven need possession. That's a fundamental to scoring points. They put it high in the air. What's the chase like?
It's not short enough, really, is it? And Lindsay has time to get himself underneath that ball and pouch it for the Eagles.
Either the kick wasn't short enough, Bill, or the chase wasn't desperate enough, and one could say here now, what, with just less than 12 minutes to go, I wonder whether there's a life and a real fight back. I don't know whether there's the will, really, to come back in this game, Terry, from a Whitehaven perspective.
I just think they look out on the feet, Phil, from what all they're not giving the penalties away, the possession that they've had, apart from that ball there.
Leroy Joe, though, as Whitehaven try and take advantage of that stray pass. Probably the first mistake in this second half from the Eagles.
But they don't look troubled in defence, they do. When they're defending their own 20 or defending the 30, they just do not look troubled. They push off the players, nominate, and they just push on to the next person.
2. Now leave him. 2. Wait.
Buckingham with the tackle on Baldwin. Mattinson, Trindle.
3. No movement.
Well, that's a key. Look at the players around the ruck. You can tell that they're tired away. They're bunching, starting to bunch on the ruck. Good ball.
Back in field to Leroy Joe, and Broadbent, the captain, will get the try that could bring Whitehaven back into this game. Right under the posts. 2 more points surely for Carl Rudd. Dave Rotherham's not giving this one up yet.
Well, I can tip the future, can't I? I didn't think Whitehaven had anything left in them, but they've come up with a big play. Terry thought the defence was too strong from Sheffield. Neither of us know what we're talking about, but Whitehaven have got a chance here now. They needed the first score. Good pass there from Rudd. Out wide, obviously, once they've made the break, then eventually support back on the inside. And I don't think that Whitehaven have supported the ball enough here tonight. Spencer Miller involved there. Look, keeps the ball alive. Leroy Joe, and then just the old Broadbent. Broadbent puts it behind the post. Rudd quickly converts, and it puts on the extra 2 points. And Whitehaven just still breathe a life in this game.
Well, he's in sight of a bonus point at least. But is there more yet for Whitehaven?
Do you know what, Phil? I was going to say Whitehaven look like they might be able to score here.
Well, Gary Broadbent's been around long enough to know that you go the entire 80 minutes. 119 appearances in his spell at Salford. 5 years there, also getting on for 60 at the Widnes Vikings before returning to his home county.
Well, it's clear, Bill, that Whitehaven have to score twice now in this remaining 9 minutes. But they don't have to score in the next play. Maybe you work in this set and then put your major effort into the kick and the chase on the end of it, really. Mattinson now goes over the halfway line, looking to get the arm free. Look, all of a sudden now the Whitehaven players supporting the man with the ball far more.
Rudd with the kick, it's a good one, it sits up there and they have to deal with that. Woodcock had to come across.
Well, it's taken them, what, almost half an hour, but now they're starting to get the kicks in there. An excellent kick, under pressure, needing to come up with a great play. Rudd's left kick puts it, just over the try line and just in the field of play. Woodcock clears it, but Whitehaven will get possession back. And what, with 8 minutes now to go, every second counts.
You don't hang around when there's a player like Craig Calvert steaming after an enticing kick like that. And Woodcock didn't. He's been outstanding. What a dropout that was. And I think it was Woodcock again.
Tackles down.
Well, he's certainly wellied that one. And it means Haven had to work from deep inside their own half.
Good speed by Danny Mills there to follow that kick up and take on the big lad, wasn't it?
Here's Scott McAvoy playing in that centre role in the absence of Rob Jackson. Baldwin now. Baldwin able to offload to Mattinson. Leroy Joe, they're probably going to go throw caution to the wind here. Seeds, they'll get it to Calvert. He'll come back in field.
3, leave him! 3, hold it again.
3 tackles gone.
3, go.
Right.
4, come on.
They're looking to force the pass on. They know that 8 minutes to go. They're probably only going to touch the ball another 4 times on 4 more occasions, so they need to come up with the points.
Baldwin forward with the tackle, looking to guide him to the touchline, but Baldwin big enough and strong enough to stand his ground. The kick, it's another teaser from Rudd. Maybe not strong enough, and Leroy Joe is under it. It's still alive, it's still on the last. Mattinson booms the ball out. Now then, Calvert will go for it, and Calvert will be taken into touch. What great defence that was. Richard Newlove, strong in the tackle. Damien Reid in there as well.
Turn it over on the 20 here.
Well, a little bit pumped up there. I know Sheffield have done well here tonight to beat this Whitehaven side, as I think they will here. Look, the ball goes over the top. They've worked so hard, Sheffield. There's no way they're going to be denied here. Newlove involved and his centre partner. He throws the ball in disgust. Calvert can't believe he's not managed to crash in at the corner.
One, now
but it's Newlove, of course, and Damien Reid who do the job for Sheffield. All of a sudden they look a little nervous with the ball, Sheffield, but they've still got enough effort and desire in defence to hang on in there.
He looks happy about that shot, doesn't he? Both
Well,
both Richard Youth and Brendan Lindsay have come with some big shots tonight.
Well, Lindsay set the pattern, didn't he, in the first half with those 2 big hits that really, I think, sort of epitomised the effort that the Eagles have put in tonight.
It has, Bill, hasn't it? It's been a real team performance, I think. From the outside backs up to the forwards in the middle of the pitch, they've all played really well.
But Haven have been denied twice and were the victims of a pretty dubious call in the first half, so they will head home, as it now looks, with just a bonus point as Lindsay puts the kick in. And think what might have been. Eelbeck denied, Fatia Lofa denied.
Spencer, lock in when we do.
Well, that's what happens, isn't it? This time of the season, we get towards the playoffs, and you need that element of luck, don't you, in rugby league, as in any sport. Here's the kick from Rudd now, direct from the scrub, but it's not far enough, and Newlove takes it relatively easily. Maybe that was the last throw of the dice from a Whitehaven point of view.
Well, we heard from Rob Warranty earlier on in this second half. He's out, and it was Newlove who was brought into the side. He's had injury problems this season, Richard Newlove. Broke his arm very early in the campaign. But he's certainly repaid his coach tonight. Now then, Lindsay just skipped past the first tackle. Leroy Joe into the last 5 minutes. Sheffield Eagles looking to make 6th place their own, which would be a great achievement for a side newly promoted. As I mentioned earlier on, it's normally been straight back down to National League 2. And well done to Dewsbury as well. Oh, and then the error from Brambani, and Brambani is relieved of the ball by Carl Rudd.
We probably should have had a penalty as well here. There's the mistake by Brambani. Then Whitehaven play the ball quickly. Sheffield marker's not straight really, but the referee reluctant to penalise him at this stage.
They haven't got a lot here tonight, Whitehaven. They'll certainly feel aggrieved, I think.
2, go.
Here's Ricky Wright.
Here we are, lad. 3.
On halfway.
Come on.
4 minutes to go here. So Whitehaven are going to have to sweat on that 3rd place, are they? Here's McAvoy. Have they got an opportunity maybe to close the gap still further here? McAvoy plays the ball. Here's Rudd. Across the field, Carl Rudd. Still going across, and then fires the ball out. Oh, it's picked up by Seeds and nearly gifted to him by Reed, and it's another set of 6.
0 tackle.
It was Reed's hand, and so they've got another 6 here.
1.
They're 8 points behind.
Hands out. 1.
An opportunity right at the death here for Whitehaven, just to cause a few flutters in the Eagles' camp.
2, hold it, mate.
Leroy Joe directing proceedings. Broadbent, whose try has given them this slight hope. Fatia Lofa, quick hands. Mattinson gets away from contact. Leroy Joe puts the kick in. It's not a good one. Mills is underneath it. And they're offside, I think. Derry Eelbeck, the man offside. And that is surely it for Whitehaven.
Well, if you needed to sum up how Sheffield have won this game, you could just look at the last 1 minute. Sheffield's effort here in defence is the reason why they won. If you restrict your opponents to just 14 points in the game of rugby league, you've always got a great chance of scoring, because somewhere along the line your team are going to come up with some points. There's a late tackle there into Mills.
It's been a frustrating night for Dave Rotherham. Frustrating night for his side. Danny Mills felt the after effects of that challenge from Derry Eelbeck, but he's back on his feet. Lindsay, that looked high. It was high. Scott Tier with the tackle. And the penalty goes to Sheffield Eagles. It's Corcoran, in fact, I beg his pardon.
Come on, Lance.
Again, Bill, a bit of frustration creeping into the Whitehaven game now. Mark Aston's going to be very happy with this year. As you said, coming up from National League 2 to National League 1 and making the playoffs. And even whatever happens in the playoffs, it doesn't matter, because these players will take a lot of confidence into next season.
Well, they've already signed about a dozen of these players, I think 4 next year, already building for the future.
Sheffield are a very difficult team to play in the playoffs. They've got nothing to lose, very little expectation, no external pressure, and with tremendous confidence and momentum behind them with performances like this. Any team that can defend as well as Sheffield could beat anybody on the day.
It'd just be good if their exploits got a bit more recognition in the city of Sheffield. Certainly feel as though they don't get the rub of the green when it comes to coverage of their exploits, and this is worthy of mention. Beating one of the leading contenders in National League 1. the side in third place. As Stringer takes the tackle, can they round it off here? Brambani trying to get away. He gets the ball out in the tackle. Lindsay, Holdstock, they've got numbers out here. Mills steps back inside, he'll round it off. Broadbent appeals for a forward pass. Nothing doing for Whitehaven tonight. Danny Mills with a try that seals it for Mark Aston's side. 6th place is in the bag for the Sheffield Eagles now.
Well, I think this is a fitting end to an almost perfect night for Sheffield. Brambani's put under tremendous pressure, but keeps the ball alive. It's the last play, remember. Then they shift it wide, they know the space, and like a good winger, steps back on the inside of Eelbeck, and Mills scores, really. Just to cement, really, and the confidence now in this Sheffield side. At the end of a good night's work, they've worked hard in defence, they've played enjoyably in attack, and now they put the points on the board with the very last try. Mills deserves it. Great team effort from this Sheffield mob.
The hooter sounds, dejected Dave Rotherham and the Whitehaven fans who've made this long journey. They've still got the playoffs to look forward to, but this isn't the way you want your regular season to end. Now then, can Woodcock round off an immaculate performance with the boot with this conversion attempt? 5 from 5 for the fullback. He's been outstanding. That one, another scudder. It just disappears under the crossbar. The final whistle blows, and well, the Sheffield Eagles opened the doors and gave free admission to the fans for this game, and those supporters, Sheffield supporters who've taken advantage of that, have been richly rewarded by a great second half performance, but real disappointment for Whitehaven, who came here knowing that victory would wrap up third place, but they have been beaten by a more enthusiastic side, you maybe have to say, because Sheffield have just gone about it with a little bit more vigour, and they've taken their chances. And okay, Whitehaven will complain about the incident in the first half that led to the Eagles' equalising try. They've had 2 disallowed by the video referee. I don't think they can complain about either of those disallowed tries. The fact is, the Sheffield Eagles have done the job tonight. They are in the playoffs, newly promoted, and Sheffield Eagles win by 26 points to 14. Gavin Brown among the try scorers. He's the longest serving player in this Eagles side now, and we can hear from him now on the sidelines.
Gavin, a very special moment for you, but it's a very tough game. Would you have expected the result you've got from this performance?
Yeah, of course we would. We've been confident all season. We've put in some really good performances. Now, the main goal at the start of the season was survival, and we've achieved that, and we've gone one step further, making the playoffs, which is absolutely fantastic.
That's right, you qualified through the grand final route 12 months ago. To finish in the playoffs is a massive achievement in your first season back in National League One.
It is massive, and to be fair, as I said, the main goal was survival. We've achieved that, we've gone one step further, and who knows what can happen in the playoffs. We're not here to make the numbers off, we're here to, cause some damage.
Sheffield's longest serving player, I think I'm right in saying, currently, very much a part of the history of this club. And how big is this a moment compared to the grand finals, the Challenge Cup final, obviously? But this is a huge moment, though.
It's been fantastic from my point of view. I've been here since the club reformed. It's taken us 8 years to get where we are today in the playoffs of the National League One, which is fantastic. But another big thing today is the announcement that we'll launch a scholarship, which me, Jack and Mitchell Stringer, will put a lot into the development, and that's massive. So I'd just like to welcome all the kids, and thanks for coming tonight, and good luck to the scholarship kids.
Well done, Gavin. Congratulations. Dave Rotherham also with us. Dave, not the result you wanted, sweating on other results now.
Yeah, it was in our own hands. We should have performed better than that tonight, and I think the boys would be pretty sore physically and feeling sorry for themselves.
Sheffield, well, a huge performance by them. I mean, they lost heavily at Whitehaven earlier in the season. Were you expecting that sort of performance from the Eagles today?
Yeah, of course. It's always tough to come in, and they've second half of the season they've done some good results together. So we knew what we were up against, and we just didn't perform tonight.
And now waiting for Halifax and their result against Doncaster. So you'll be cheering on Doncaster this weekend.
Absolutely. It was in our own hands tonight, and we shouldn't have to rely on the results of others for a league place finish.
Thanks very much, Dave. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks.
Well, great disappointment for Dave Rotherham, but such joy here at the Don Valley Stadium for the Sheffield Eagles. There's the final score, the Eagles winning by 26 points to 14, and that just about means that Sheffield Eagles will play in the playoffs at the end of the season. All right, Dewsbury, they can get to 24 points, but such is the points difference between Sheffield Eagles and Dewsbury Rams, Sheffield can now start making their plans for those playoffs. At the other end, of course, a bit further up the table, Whitehaven, they are 3 points better off than Halifax, but Halifax have got a better points difference than them, and if Halifax beat Doncaster, who are already relegated at the weekend, they will go third, and Whitehaven will go fourth. They both get home ties in the playoffs, but at least they would have finished fourth in the table had they won here, and what an opportunity then for Halifax at Doncaster. These are the final round of fixtures. Batley against Widnes. Widnes have to win that to hope that Rochdale beat Castleford to claim league leadership. Lee against Dewsbury. There's something to play for in all 4 of those matches on Sunday. And in National League 2, that's the way the programme looks as well. And, of course, Celtic Crusaders, if they beat the Gateshead Thunder, they will be absolutely and 100% assured that they will be promoted as champions in National League 2. Great programme in the National Leagues. Well, in 1998, Mark Aston won the Lance Todd Trophy as man of the match at Wembley in the victory over Wigan in the Challenge Cup final. Mark now is the head coach here at the Don Valley Stadium. There he is. And Mark, no wonder you're smiling. That's a magnificent win for your boys tonight.
Oh, special win, Eddie. We've been outstanding for the last 6 or 8 weeks, and a lot of people knocked us at the beginning of the season and said that, we're certain to get relegation. There's a spirit of the club again, like it used to be in the early days of my career, and the boys have worked hard out of that bit of adversity at the beginning of the season. They've raised the bar, and today they've been a credit to the club. The season's been fantastic for us. The target was to establish yourself as a First Division club, and also the players as First Division players. I think we can tick all those boxes and look forward to the top 6.
Well, you know exactly, of course, what cup football's all about, and that's what you're in now in the playoffs. I mean, anything can happen over 80 minutes, can't it?
I certainly can. I've been there, seen it and done it, and the boys, if they keep working as they have done of late with the attitude, Halifax played us last week, and they came out of the game very scared of us and know that we're a quality team, and we're not frightened of anybody at this moment in time. We've got to be the team that's playing probably on top of the game at the moment, and what more do you want to do come the playoffs? Yes, you're bang in form. You have been here, well, it seems like forever, and you know what it means to this club to get into the playoffs. But, I think I'm right in saying that you just about do it all. You put out the advertising boards, you almost iron the kit on match days. I mean, you are a jack of all trades, but you're a master at the coaching job, that's for sure. And you've got this scholarship programme starting, haven't you, which is a great credit to everyone here. Massive. It's the first time it's ever been launched in Sheffield, and there's some cracking kids out there at the moment, and teams are looking at them, but we're delighted we're in a position this year to set up the scholarship. Credit to the coaches, Gav, Jack and Mitchell Stringer, 3 of the first team squad who've played tonight, the work they've done in and around the community, and at the end of the day, they are the future of Sheffield Eagles, and hopefully the dream is still living, and we can one day have a team full of Sheffield people playing for Sheffield Eagles. Well, it's fantastic, and as I said at the start of this, you were Lance Todd winner in 1998. That was a very special day for the club. You're on the way back. Where does this sit in the Mark Aston history book, tonight's result? Well, it's up there with all of them. I've had a lot of years here. We've had Premiership football when we were coming through the ranks. Played in Super League, Wembley, obviously, and 8 years ago it were dark days when the merger happened. We've moved on. Last year was a dream come true of getting promotion. This year, to actually hit the top 6, I don't know how long it'll take to sink in. And we've got a party tonight. The boys are going to enjoy themselves, but then we're going to enjoy ourselves in the next few weeks and take us. I keep asking themselves to challenge themselves, and week in, week out, they're raising the bar, and it's a credit to them, without a shadow of doubt. Just a quick plug. Hi, Mum, Dad, watching me in Turkey. Love you, missing you. Cheers. Good on you, Mark. Well done. Many congratulations on tonight, and all the very best in the playoffs. Thanks, Eddie.
fantastic story. I mean, it's a renaissance at Sheffield. You know, all right, people say, hey, it's only National League One. They're not in Super League yet, but they are